Hi, everyone. It's Ian Heller with Distribution Strategy Group today with a terrific distribution leader panel on creating exceptional customer experiences. We've got a couple of great guests joining me today. But before we bring them in, let me just remind you of this. For many distributors, the experience you offer your customers is your primary differentiator. Think about it. How much of what you sell can your customers get nowhere else? How much of what you do will no other distributor do for them? The reality is the quality of your experience, how much they like you, trust you, build relationships with you. This has a tremendous amount to do with drawing customers to buy from you for the first time and certainly in retaining them. So customer experience is this just incredibly important differentiator. So we're going to get into all of that and more on today's conversation. But before I introduce our panelists, of course, we have to do a little business. First, I want to remind you that we have an upcoming show, Applied AI for Distributors, June 24th through 26th in Chicago. You're not going to want to miss this. Tickets are selling fast. We will sell out this show, so sign up soon. It's going to be more like 30 AI-enabled distribution technology companies there. There's going to be a tremendous amount of networking. We've got some incredible speakers. Noel Russell was just rated the #1 global thought leader on agentic AI, which is the next big thing after LLMs. Trent Gillespie, who was with Amazon, he did a lot of last mile stuff. He's the CEO of Stellus AI. He's going to be speaking. Don Sarno, who heads up digital enterprise for Sonopar North America, is there. Janet Zelenka, a friend of mine, tremendous CFO and CIO, is doing this fascinating panel with the following three people, including Paul Kennedy, the CEO of DSG Supply, no relation. Tracy Duell, who's the managing partner at CXO Partners, and is at Bostwick Braun today, and Dina Stanton, who's at Kyndryl. They're going to talk about how you integrate human intelligence and artificial intelligence to get the best out of both. It's going to be a fascinating discussion. This is much more like a technology event than a traditional distribution event. And you can tell because our dress code for this event is, and this is important, so listen carefully, our dress code is you must wear clothes. Okay, next I want to talk about Customer Experience RX. This is not the subject of today's call, but it is related to it because my business partner, Jonathan Bine, he's a genius. And as I like to tell people, if you're going to go into business with someone who's a genius like I did, he invented Customer Experience RX. It's this incredible net promoter score system for distributors, but it gives you really distribution-specific feedback on your delivery performance, your inventory performance, your sales performance, your customer service performance, and you can slice and dice it by job function, by region, by branch location, by customer segment you sell to. It's super important. It's really fast and easy to implement. It's low cost. He's a genius. He invented a genius product, so you're not going to want to miss that. And a big part of your customer experience is your online customer experience, of course, and that's where Shopify comes in. Because in B2B e-commerce, a strong digital presence is crucial for retaining and expanding your customer base. Today, your buyers are predominantly millennials who expect modern, intuitive interfaces similar to those they use in their personal lives. The stakes are high for businesses that fail to meet these expectations. A recent survey found that 74% of B2B buyers would switch suppliers for a better online experience. How about that? Here's how you can improve. First, prioritize user-friendly online ordering. Make online ordering convenient with self-service portals that streamline the buying process, encourage repeat business, and offer suggestions. Second, personalization is key. Tailor the shopping experience to each customer by customizing pricing, currency, products, and store content using built-in features, custom code, apps, or APIs. This can include suggesting related products or offering customer-specific delivery options. Finally, simplify the complex. Focus on convenience, self-service, and personalization to create exceptional buying experiences that surpass customer expectations. Whether you sell B2B or direct to consumer, Shopify is your central commerce engine, managing all customer segments, sales channels, and regions from a single intuitive platform. For more strategies and best practices, visit Shopify's B2B solutions page at www.shopify.com/solutions/B2B. That's shopify.com/solutions/B2B. All right, without further ado, let's bring in the stars of the show. I'd like to welcome Stephanie Kuntz, who's the Director of Marketing with Palmer Donovan. Molly Langdon, SVP of Customer Experience at Stellar Industrial Supply. Molly, Stephanie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having
Thanks,
me.
Ian. Yeah, thanks for having us.
You bet. Hey, I'm really glad that you joined us today. Thank you so much. You guys are stars when it comes to figuring out how to provide great customer experience in the world of distribution. So I'd like you to introduce yourselves now. Molly, I'm going to have you go first, but since you're probably too shy to say it, I'm going to point out that you just won the Industrial Supply Association's Women's Influence Award for mentorship and leadership. Congratulations. That's a big deal.
Thank you. Yeah, that is a big deal. I'm very passionate about advocating for women in this industrial supply space and development of people in general. So I'm honored to win that. That's humbling because there's so many amazing women leaders in this space. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's well deserved, and I think everyone was delighted, and no one was surprised.
Well, thanks.
So,
I was surprised, and I was not going to mention it, so I'm glad you did. I definitely wasn't going to lead with that, but thank you.
yeah. So why don't you, both of you, we'll start with you, Molly, since you have the mic. Tell us about your background. How did you get to where you get to? What does Stellar do? What's the scope of your responsibilities today?
Sure. So current role, Senior Vice President of Customer Experience for Stellar. I've been with Stellar. This is my 26th year. I started in the product management space. So I started in purchasing and moved into operations. I'm passionate about process improvement and just improvement in general. So moved into the operations space, which just made my scope a little bit bigger. And then moved into, we renamed operations customer experience about 6 years ago. And I'll talk about that a little bit. But right now I have supply chain and customer experience and pricing actually in my scope. So it's big, but it all goes together. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, it's interesting. Renaming operations customer experience sure changes the focus, doesn't it?
It changes the focus, and when you look at operations feels very what they used to like, sort of back end ish, right? But when we
Yeah.
renamed it from operations to customer experience, we created that direct connection. Like we say, everybody in our business is involved in customer experience. There isn't one person that is involved in sales or customer experience. And so it really allowed us to focus everybody's efforts, which you want to do throughout the organization. Like, why am I doing what I'm doing? And it puts a whole different lens on whatever activity that is when you know you're part of the customer experience. So we renamed we don't have branch managers anymore. We have customer experience managers, and
Wow.
it's all customer experience. Yeah.
That's really cool. I like that a lot. I had not heard that. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So, Stephanie, so thanks for joining us. Please tell us about your background and your responsibilities and what Palmer Donovan does.
Yeah, so I am the director of marketing at Palmer Donovan. I've been here 14 years. Palmer Donovan is a building materials distributor. So we distribute building products to the lumber yards, independent lumber yards, Carters, Lowe's, those types of customers. But I've been fortunate in my role. It seems similar to Molly, where I've kind of been all over in the company. I enjoy the process improvement part of the world. And so I started over in corporate. I've been with sales and, operations and purchasing. And, now I find myself in marketing, and similar, I think with Molly, is marketing today touches in my scope. It is CRM, it is e-commerce, it is portals, it is, all the things that have their own definition of a department, but encompass so many other departments. So I've been fortunate where I've had roles within Palmer Donovan, but I've never had like a true, I kind of have always loved the digital strategy world and have kind of grown my role into owning a lot of that area. So yeah.
That's great. Yeah. So I think it's interesting that these notions of like being a marketing company or being a customer experience focused company, those aren't departmental things, right? I mean, you got to enroll the whole company because that person picking an order or counting inventory or doing proper billing so that the customer gets an accurate invoice. I mean, all of those things contribute to customer experience. And when people get those wrong, customers get frustrated and sometimes they leave. Right. So it's not just what you say, it's what you do. Right. So
Absolutely. It's an ecosystem of all of these processes working together.
yeah.
And we talk about, focus on what the next person has to do in that ecosystem of processes, whether it's invoicing or shipping, or I'm glad you brought up invoicing because I think sometimes that gets missed
Yeah.
when you're doing your business reviews or we call them partnership reviews. You miss that. I mean, if you're a pain on accounting, that is a bad customer experience. I can tell you that. So
Yeah, that frustrating call they get from your receivables
yes,
person is going to counteract 100 positive calls they have with customer service.
absolutely.
Right. Now, Stephanie, how do you define or better said, how do you define exceptional customer experience?
Yeah, I mean, similar to what we were just saying, like it's not, I don't feel like we try to overcomplicate a great, exceptional customer experience. I think it's very much like I think about the interactions our people do every day, and it's whether it's on a phone call, through an email, or through an in-person conversation, it's getting them the answer, almost anticipating what this customer is going to ask because you have the knowledge of or the data or the insights of what this customer has done with you in the past, understanding their question, their issue, their problem, and getting them an answer fairly quickly. And if you can't get that answer, you're not sending them around the horn to all the different departments in the company. You're doing that legwork and you're supplying them. So to me, it's very simple. It's just being open, you're communicating, you're honest. A lot of our customers may not appreciate some of the feedback we give them, whether it's a longer lead time on a product or a longer or a price increase or a back ordered product. But again, I think if you're communicating upfront and you're honest with your answer and you're delivering on that, you're going to create that customer experience and they're going to trust you and build that relationship with you. So for me, it's very simple. It's just being, communicative and getting them answers.
Yeah, it's interesting because there is this phenomenon that good service recovery can more than compensate for a mistake, right?
Mhm.
So if you make a mistake, people get it, but if you do an extraordinary job resolving it, then they almost come away with a better impression than if you've done it right the first time. Then the problem is that people don't admit them or they try to cover them up, right?
Yep. And
Um,
I think similar to what you were saying about invoicing, like it should be something simple, or you want to pay a bill, like paying a bill should be something that we should make really easy, but sometimes it can get harder. And so if you can make that easier, people are going to want to work with you.
Hey, Molly, what's the role of technology in providing great customer experience?
Uh, so when I think about going back, I want to say something
Yeah, go ahead.
on the last. It's so important because we have our own customers. We're customers, right? So I always talk to our organization like we are all customers every day. So what a great customer experience is, and it is nobody ever says the best customer experience I ever had. It was 100% perfect from beginning to end. That never happens, and so it is how you recover. And
Right.
just being honest, we have 26 fundamentals at Stellar, and one of them talks about bad news doesn't get better with age, so just be upfront, right?
Yeah.
Because we're all humans. You talked about human intelligence and human touches, and that's a huge part of it. So I think technology, I think it should enhance the customer experience. I think there are times, and we jump on the technology bandwagon when we believe it's going to help us as an organization in areas, but I don't think it's always the answer. So it has to either enhance your capacity, to respond and do, meet the customer's expectations, or enhance your capability. So it has to fit into those categories, and that it's a wide array of how it can help. But I think it shouldn't, you shouldn't be fighting technology to provide an exceptional customer experience. So in my mind, it should help you with faster response times. It should help you understand your customers better. So in any way it can enhance, but the minute you feel like you're fighting technology, then something's wrong and you need to get at that. So
I
not
think
pro technology, but
Yeah.
don't fight.
I think agree. I am so pro technology, but I feel like we really in the building materials industry, our customers are very slow to adapt technology. And shouldn't say all of our customers, but we are a slower technological industry. And it's funny because probably 3 or 4 years ago, we tried a chat bot on our e-commerce site. And literally, I think we pulled it down within 4 hours because our customers, it's interesting because we changed the prompt and they hadn't even gotten to the true bot experience. And so what we've learned is that yes, technology is great and there's a lot of sparkly, shiny things out there that we want to try, but we need to meet our customers where they are. And so what we're trying to do with technology is test internally. So let's create a chat bot that our internal customer service reps can use. Let's get all of our product knowledge in-house, pair it with our product descriptions, pair that with AI, and then allow our customer service reps to refine the algorithms and to really clean up the searches and the capabilities. And then maybe if our customers are ready or we start to kind of leak it out to our customers. So for us, I think agree, like we are pro tech and we want to use this great technology, but I think we have to meet our customers where they are too.
Yeah, you can't force that on customers. I love that you talked about it internally because we do the same, right? How can we collaborate better? How can we multiply ourselves? How can we share information faster? Ease of doing business starts internal and moves external. And I think, that's a huge part of the customer experience is how easy, how easy are we to do business with? And internally, if we build that technology base so that we can be collaborating faster, that's huge. That absolutely goes to our customer experience. And then we're not putting technology on them. Like you said, meet them where they are, right? Understanding where they want to be and how they want to do business. And then how do we improve internally so we can be better?
And yeah, for us as a company, we're going through an ERP change, which is really scary, right? For the entire company. But for me and for a lot of us, we're excited because it's going to allow that better integration, the better transparency between departments. We're thinking through all the things that we're doing so we can allow the transparency and the sharing of data internally and externally. So yeah.
Yeah, so to the audience, if you have questions, please use the Q&A button. We love taking your questions and including them in the conversation. Now, I've been doing market research for many, many years. And if I were to reduce to one statement what customers are asking for, what distribution customers are asking for in that customer research, the closest thing I could summarize it to be would be, please make my job easier, right?
Yes.
Because and that's not a hard message, but it's very hard to deliver on, right? But it is interesting to me that when we talk about including technology, a lot of times the objective, in fact, Brian Hopkins, who works with us, is writing about this right now. A lot of times the objective about the technology from the distributor's perspective tends to be focused on productivity and profitability. And I get that. But if it gets in the way of the customer having making you easy to do business with, it feels like a lot of times that does more harm than good. And I mean, customers don't mind you doing things that improve your productivity, but don't position them as things as what they're not, right? So either they should contribute to making the experience easier, or just say, hey, we're going to integrated voice response system because we need to route calls properly or whatever, but don't pretend that it's for the customer's ease of doing business if it's not. um, um, and you can
Yeah.
tell when companies do that, right? In our own lives, it's like the airline does something. It's like, for your convenience, we're now charging for checked bags. It's like,
Right.
come
Yeah,
on.
the automation, we do look to automate because we want humans
Sure.
doing the valuable human things. So whatever we can automate from a transaction standpoint, whatever doesn't take, the clicks on a keyboard, that does not bring value to the customer. I always say, like, I get that you're struggling. I get that this is taking a long time, but let's reach out and figure out a different solution, because the customer really doesn't care how long you spent on this thing, right? 4 hours does not make it more valuable.
Right.
You're going to have a great result, but and we're all now, I notice we're fighting for or against each other with automation, and we try to automate transactions so that, again, the humans can do human things. But I also know our suppliers are also trying to automate, so we're like, we want to automate purchase orders to you so it's faster and we can expedite and we get a better experience for our customer. And they're like, that's great, why don't you use our website, right? We want you to use our website. So it is interesting from a technology standpoint how we're all trying to do the same thing, and they're kind of bumping up against each other in that space.
Yeah, we have a great question from an attendee, so I'll direct this to you, Stephanie, and then Molly, I think you should answer this one as well. If your company is just starting out with customer experience, what customer data, probably just broader, what data would you first start collecting?
Oh, data is so important. And we've done, and when I say data, for me in the marketing department, we look at contact data. And so for us, as we start to, in our experience, we want to get to more of that personalized, that tailor experience. And so for me, my big part is really cleaning up that contact data. So within our CRM, we don't allow sales reps just to add contacts. We don't allow sales reps to add customers. We keep our data locked down and very clean. And for me, in my opinion, it would be starting at that. It depends where you want to go, right? Like how you want to approach it. But the contact data for us is key in cleaning up, who Ian is as it relates to DSG and how does he, interact with Palmer Donovan. So that's kind of where I go, is cleaning up that, looking at that contact data, making sure it aligns with your customer data and keeping all of that clean.
I 100% agree with Stephanie. I think it's that contact data. I also think it's understanding more about those individuals at the customer. What is their influence, right? More, it's almost like you want a profile. You want to understand, because the more you understand the customer, the more you understand their needs, the more you can meet those needs. And it's a team approach, right? So it isn't just about the salesperson having that contact data and understanding how things work at ABC company. It's really your entire team understanding who the contacts are, what they do, where they have influence, what their needs are, everything about the context within the customer. That's how you learn the customer. I mean, we can all, again, market data. I'm not a sales leader, so I'm sure my counterpart in sales is like, what about this? What about this? But I would say from a customer experience standpoint, it is how personal can you make it, and how much can you understand their needs and goals. And it's not like you need a biography or you want to know their life dreams, but really the more you understand them, the more you can, and going back to Stephanie, to what you said, meet them where they are. So it's beyond just having, a first name, a last name, a phone number, and an email. It's really understanding what's their role, how long have they been there, what is their influence. So I would say that would be good data to start.
And I think as the company at Palmer Donovan, a big thing that we did is we use Microsoft as our CRM, and we wanted that to be our single source of contact records. And so on the marketing side, we actually transitioned from a really good marketing platform to Microsoft Marketing, because we wanted one single source of contact record that our sales team can oversee, but we maintain, and we can build segments with that. And when we look at, on the sales side, now we're looking at tying in our Power BI data. And so we're tying that sales in with the information that we see that, Ian clicked on this, so he is interested in this product, and oh, his company actually does sell this product. So we're starting to tie in, but again, that contact level is so important and so granular to have that, that area really cleaned up and focused on.
Yeah, it's interesting that your decision was, it's more important that these two systems be fully integrated and are sharing data than that we choose the very best in functionality for each individual system
Mhm.
but have them not integrated.
Yeah.
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 It's the integration, and I'm sure anybody who's dealt with integrations, they're great, but then they are also horrible because it goes
Right.
back to that data integrity and the people that are entering that information. And so, yeah, we definitely, I don't want to say, our new platform isn't that great. It does what it needs to do, but we
Sure.
definitely went down thinking through our future of, all this one platform to have all this information in under.
All right, let's switch topics and talk about employee empowerment. And so I think this is a tough line to draw sometimes because, as a distributor, you're very process driven and you want to be consistent in your customer interactions. And, there's not 10 different ways, 10 different right ways to do something, right? So you want to, some distributors are ISO certified or whatever. But at the same time, you need to provide a certain amount of authority and latitude to your customer facing employees so that they are not constrained by bureaucracy. So how do you balance that? I mean, what kind of empowerment do you give to your customer facing employees so that they can take care of customers in the moment, but don't unintentionally cause a bunch of operational problems behind the scenes that may impact other customers?
Yeah, you do walk a very fine line. And one of my biggest frustrations is when you hear somebody say, all of our employees are empowered, they have authority, but then they're not trained, they don't know what to do, right? Like being empowered is one thing, but not knowing what to do, then you could empower me all day long. If I don't know what to do, it's not
Yeah.
going to happen. Like I'm just going to feel empowered, and then I'm not
Yeah.
going to know what to do.
Yeah.
So I think it is understanding where you need controls and where you don't. And we control pricing. We use strategic pricing, so we don't allow pricing in the moment, and that isn't just for profitability. That's a definitely a benefit and a reason we went to strategic pricing, but it also removes that we have consistency, and it removes that having to make that decision. But somebody could define that as saying, well, then they're not empowered, then they don't have that authority. But they do have empowerment and authority to do the right thing. So we always say, don't bet the farm, but do the right thing. And that comes with good leadership as well. So not giving mixed messages, just making sure they understand and they're supported by what we call shared services. So our shared services is finance, admin, IT, vending solutions. So shared services supports them in a way that they can make those decisions. Our systems are set up so it's clear, what can you do and how can you make it right with the customer and what are you empowered to do. But it really does take understanding what controls you need and then making sure your systems are set up correctly and your training and your leadership is aligned with that. Because to say one thing and then not give them, the tools to do it is, that's a recipe for not a good customer experience or employee experience, right? A good employee experience is going to result in a good customer experience. But if they're not having a good experience, then that's not going to translate.
Got it. So the empowerment has to come with the proper training and empowerment in certain areas and with some guardrails. And with this, part of the training is do the right thing, but don't bet the farm.
Yeah, don't bet the farm, right?
Yeah,
Like
right,
it,
right.
understand what that means. And that again, that comes with leadership and proper training and supervision and a culture that supports that. And I know we have that at Stellar.
I was going to say it's the culture for us that really empowers, similar to you guys, we have 28 PD principles is what we call them, purpose
Oh, you
driven.
beat us by 2,
I
Stephanie.
know. It's funny because I'm like 28, holy moly, that's a lot. But when you go down the list, it's a lot. And those are the things that we instill in our employees. And that what, you have those controls and but you're also empowering them. We're an ESOP. And so our number one principle is think and act like an owner. And so everything we do, every decision we make affects us as an ESOP. And so again, the culture I think is huge with the empowerment part of the customer experience, but also to your point, having those controls where you're not doing silly things.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have another question from an attendee. What marketing technology stacks are you using, if any?
I'm going to let Stephanie answer that because
Yeah, that's not in
marketing is
your
outside of my
scope,
scope.
right? Yeah.
So for us, like I said, we were on, I don't know if I said it, but we were on HubSpot,
Hmm.
which is a really great platform.
Yep.
We converted to Microsoft Marketing. And so for us, we utilize Microsoft Marketing for basically everything. We have Sprout Social, which also kind of plans and puts out our social media stuff, but we're really living in Microsoft Marketing, which is their customer journeys. But we're pairing that with our CRM, which is Dynamics, Microsoft program or Microsoft platform as well. And on our marketing side, we are getting better at just the sales and marketing focus. We need to be on the same line. And so we're using a lot of the data from our CRM to feed our marketing initiative. So again, having that single platform is key for us.
Got it. Okay. Let's talk about measurement. So how do you measure I mean, are you using Net Promoter Score? I mean, I know the answer in some of these cases, but go ahead and tell the audience, you know, are you using Net Promoter Score? How are you using it? And, what's the frequency and how's it working? I don't know, Molly, you want to start?
Sure. We do use Net Promoter Score. We use Customer Experience RX. I we use that to get down to the branch level. So getting customer feedback at a high level is one thing, but really getting it down to be location specific is important. So and customer feedback is a requirement. We're AS 9120 ISO certified. And what that means to us is a quality product is a quality customer experience. So that's what we produce, if you think about in the distribution world. So we do use Net Promoter Score. We also have a set of quality metrics that we use as part of our AS 9120. So we have on-time delivery. We measure shipments per order. We measure order accuracy. We measure all of those things as well down to the location level. And really use those from a process improvement standpoint, and also use those in how we manage our customer relationships, right? Like just understanding what's going on at a customer, because you can tell yourself everything is great because your sales haven't gone down, right? Their volumes are
Yeah.
where they should be, which is absolutely the worst. I wouldn't even call it a lagging indicator. I think it's you should not be using that as a measure of your customer satisfaction.
Right.
But we do use NPS. And when we first started, it was kind of scary. I'm like, oh my gosh, right? We probably started at 27. I think it was very low. And actually that's positive now once you understand it.
Yeah. It's not as bad as it sounds, but it's
Right.
not where right,
It's
right,
not as bad as it
right,
sounds. And if
right.
you compare yourself to the cable company, you are amazing at like a negative 80.
Right.
Um, but yeah, we use a set of quality metrics, and we use NPS and CXRX.
Yeah, right. So I like that. I mean, it's really there's three sets of measurements, right? One is customer feedback, and you got to get that because that really is the ultimate gauge as to customer experience because it's from the customer. But then you've got all these operating metrics, which are key to driving good customer experiences. And then you have your financial metrics. But to your point, those are the outcomes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Stephanie, how do you think about measuring customer experience?
We're very similar. We've been doing RX for 2 years now. I think we're
Yeah.
starting around our third year now. And we honestly have, I don't want to brag, but our customers really like us. I
Yeah.
can say
That's good. You can brag about that. Right.
our NPS score ranges around the 60s to 70s. And so our customers do like us. And where we use it is we look at the data, and obviously we're looking at the negative comments, but we're also looking through that and saying, okay, who are these negative comments coming from? And we're saying, okay, how much time and effort do we need to spend on these negative comments if it's a tier 3, whatever,
Yeah.
lower ranking customer? So we're using that. And then, I think in a way, because we've had such a positive response in our NPS scores, we're really looking at the comments and just trying to, again, meet our customers where they are, but knowing that they're happy with what a lot of the stuff we're doing. How can we enhance that in little ways to make it even more better? That's not the right word.
More
Yeah, no,
better.
More
I like
There
better.
was a
I
movie
like
with
more
that name.
I like more better.
Mhm.
Just to put it out there, our current NPS is 63. I did not
Wow.
leave on a like 27.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
People thinking, why is she on here if they're at a 27?
yeah.
But yeah, I agree with Stephanie. You look at
Yeah.
that feedback and it gets really easy to focus on the negative and where you need to improve. But it's also great to celebrate success, because the more you celebrate success, the more you can replicate that. So we utilize that as well. Like, what's working, where's it working, and how do we replicate that? And who are your customer champions? So that's important.
One thing to that point, what we've done is we actually have exported all of the data of the comments, and we've called out where, when a customer calls out an employee by name, and we'll share that with the employee. So again, going to
Yeah.
the empowerment in that, hey, you make a difference here. You do a really good job, and really making them feel better, and then empowering them, and just making that whole overall experience better, I think. So sharing that data internally is awesome, and externally too, is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, look, if your organization is at a, like you mentioned, the cable company at a negative, because you can be up to a negative 100 and NBS. I mean, if you're operating at a negative 20, just because you don't know it doesn't mean you're not at a negative 20, right?
Exactly.
And so you gotta rip the covers off and see where you're at so you can improve. And you think about like the path that you've gone on, Molly, to raise your NPS score. That comes from understanding exactly where you need to invest in improvement, because you don't have an unlimited budget to do improvements with, right?
Yeah,
Um,
it's cultural too. So it goes back to the
yeah,
culture. You have to have a culture where you can share the feedback, celebrate the positive, work on the negative, but that is cultural, right?
yeah,
We have a culture of continuous improvement, and we celebrate that, and we say this is just part of being stellar, is approaching our work in that way. And so if you have that culture and you maintain that culture, then you're going to get a lot more movement. When you get that feedback, you're going to get people on board. Okay, how do we get better?
right. Yeah, I think it was Peter Drucker, the great management guru, who said, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast."
Yep,
It's like if you have a great culture, man, you're a tough competitor. That's just how. If
exactly.
you have a great culture, people love doing business with you. It's hard; they're not going to leave. So
Yeah, you have to be very intentional. It doesn't just happen.
that's right, right. Okay, so Jessica has a question. Thank you, Jessica. Do you recommend utilizing call monitoring and recording to help train and monitor customer experience? Stephanie, what do you think?
So we are going down a path. Again, I talk about us having one, non-integrated thing or platform, but we're going down the path of getting we today we use Genesis, and yes, I think the customer service department, they will go back on transcripts, and they will listen to transcripts, and they will train off of those. So if it's a bad experience, our customer service managers will go over that process with them. We're going through, again, like I say, with the tech stack, we're going through trying to convert it all. So we know that every time Ian calls in, it's a great experience, and here's all those things. So I think call recordings, and using those to train people is a good thing. I think the AI is getting better too, to kind of call out those sentiments. And so when you get that transcript or you see those recordings that can have that smiley face or that frown, and then going through those and training off of those, I think will definitely help the experience with your customers.
What do you think, Molly?
Yeah, we don't use that. I would say the majority of our requests are coming in different fashions, right? So we still get calls, but we haven't had the need to do that. We use Freshdesk as a customer request system, so we get to view those emails, email responses. How long is it taking to get back to customers? How quick are we responding?
Yeah.
What do those responses look like? So we get to see those. So I guess it's the email equivalent of a call recording. So it's just not something that we've seen the need to put anything in place.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. And people go back and forth on that all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
For
and
us,
and I don't really mind. I mean, when I call in and they say this call may be monitored for quality assurance, I don't really mind. But they're, I mean, I feel like I'm not discussing anything confidential they can't look up in their records anyway. Um,
I'm
but
always glad. I'm always like, yay, you're measuring your customer experience. Uh,
yeah,
I fill out every comment card. I do every survey.
yeah, and people appreciate that, right?
Hey,
I mean,
I know
they
we do.
really look at them. Um, Okay, so let's talk about what's changing. So I think do you think we're seeing increased focus on customer experience? I mean, taken by the fact that your branch managers are called customer experience managers, Molly. I've not heard that before. Stephanie, I know you guys are really focused on this. Um, do you feel like your competitors are closing the gap? Are they focusing on it too? Do you see more industry conversation around customer experience? I mean, where do you think it's going, and where do you think it's going to go? I just repeated myself, but you know what I mean.
Um, I do think they're focused more on customer experience. I think I see customers making us, and it for us it is a team approach. So it's not just customer service representatives. We have folks that are on site helping manage inventory, working on the operations floor. So we have a very much a team approach, but I see customers making us part of their team, right? We become
Hmm.
part of their team that can help get it done. So I see us not being more connected. That means the expectations are higher. That means they're sort of up in our business a little bit more, right? In terms of how are we doing it and how can we do it better. And again, I welcome that, because the best thing that can happen is somebody giving you feedback. The worst is them not giving you feedback. So I do see us having closer partnerships with that team approach. And I see the expectations getting higher from a service expectation and how we're going to bring value. So how do we bring value to their organization in every touch that we have? Their expectation is higher. So it's really just not about calling in and checking on an order. They don't want to do that, right? They
Yeah,
want us to be proactive. They want us to be notifying them of their usage trends before it even happens, before somebody else has to look at it. So there is an expectation that we are proactive, we are part of their team, which is good, but it does put a little pressure on parts of your business that may not be as well developed as it should be. So we have to get better quicker. But every time a customer brings us in and says, this is how you guys can help us, that improves our overall business, right? We look at that and say, okay, now we've developed a capability. Sometimes it's stressful, right? That you're like, well, we don't have that. I don't know how to give you that. Okay, let's
yeah.
develop that, but they're expecting more of that, and we are sitting at the table with them. We aren't like sitting out somewhere else where they're going to just come talk to us. They're expecting us to be part of their team and part of what makes them successful. I don't know if that made sense, but
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, we do have a question from an attendee, Stephanie. Let me run this by you first. Have you dealt with resistance from the sales department when adopting a customer experience mindset? And I would have broadened that to say from any department. And how do you navigate that?
And this is kind of what, Molly, I was thinking through this as you were talking and kind of answering this question is I think customer experience is out there, and it's a word that everyone's trying to achieve. Us as a company, we're struggling of where does the customer experience live? What department owns
Mm,
that? Because it is a sales function. It is a customer service function. Marketing, I like to put myself into everything. Marketing, it is a marketing function. Everything. So we struggle with how to set up that department to handle and own customer experience when it touches so many people. I think as a company, as it relates to sales, they are understanding our vision of what the customer expectation, what the customer experience should be, and how we want to do it. And so I think they're slower to adopt because we are asking them to put more things into CRM, and it's a little more legwork on their side. We need them to truly maintain their contacts. But I think they're starting to see how on the marketing side, the things, if they can do their simple things in CRM, what it can do for us to better that customer experience. So one thing is like our sales reps, when they enter, we call them lead measures. If they enter a lead measure in their CRM and it hits these 3 criteria, marketing is then supporting that experience because they did a product training, and now we're sending those customers, here's all the supporting documentation, here's the a promotion, here's the stuff. So I don't think initially, yes, resistance from the sales team, because we're asking more of them. But I think as we can show the why, there's more collaboration. I don't know if that answered.
Yeah. No, I think, it's funny because David Packard, who was the co-founder of Hewlett Packard, is famous for saying marketing is far too important to be left to the marketing department. And, people view that incorrectly as a shot at marketing. I think what he means is marketing's job is to make you a marketing company because marketing can't do all the marketing, right? I mean, some of the outreach and the prospecting and the service delivery and everything else, it's done by everyone else in the company. What marketing can do is sort of interpret the specifications and communicate the standards and say, hey, here's how we need to perform to maximize our marketing effectiveness. I think the exact same thing is true of customer experience. I mean, Molly, you can't answer all the phones. You can't make all the deliveries. You can't pick all the orders. You can't do all the cycle counts to make sure the inventory is accurate, all the billing, right? What you can do is say, hey, if we're going to be a great customer experience organization, here's how we have to perform in each of these areas. And I think that becomes the function of whoever's in charge of marketing of customer experience is to say, here's what it takes. Here's the standard we have to perform to. We're going to do the measurement. But you guys, in your expertise in sales or operations or inventory or whatever, you have to hit this standard in order to achieve this level of customer experience. I mean, does that help?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. That goes to looking at it, it's holistic, right? So it
Right.
is that ecosystem of all of the processes working together, all of the people understanding the why and the what, and then, figuring out the how. I would say the sales team for us, I would hope, I've never asked that question, so I think it would be a good question. For us, we didn't reinvent everything we do, right? Like
Right.
I always like to say, like, distribution is simple but not easy.
Yeah.
And
Right. Right. Yeah.
right.
It's like dieting for me. I know exactly what to do, and I can never seem to do it. Right.
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 And
Right.
so it can be very complex, and we can make it more complex if we try real hard, or we don't have to try to make it more complex. But I think our sales team appreciates the fact that we're customer forward, right?
Right.
Because it does from trending and what customers are expecting. We have, it used to be sales team would go out and they'd be customer facing, and then they'd bring the orders back in and the requests back in to the inside team, the customer service team, and that's how that would work. It's very much, we are equally, like, our customer experience team is equally customer facing with our sales team. So I think they appreciate, or I hope they should appreciate the customer facing capabilities that we have, rebranding it as customer experience and not just operations. I'm not just pushing buttons and moving boxes,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So I think they appreciate that. I know our customers do. Sometimes we have to explain it a little bit, but that's customer experience in our world. And we are just now starting, and maybe I'll reach out to you, Stephanie, but to integrate our CSR teams into our CRM, so they'll both be in the same system. And we haven't had that before, so I'll be interested. Back to the technology and fighting it, I've never been a big fan of, okay, you need to be in 3 systems all day, right? I think that handicaps your customer service team. If their job is easy, the customer experience is better. But I think that integration is going to be very important. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to you.
Yeah, definitely. I have this board behind me that says Marketing World Domination Board. And it was a joke because in our company, it was a lot of the initiatives and the focuses were coming, and it was seen as a marketing initiative or it was a marketing push, when really it was a customer experience push in certain ways. It was, okay, yes, we own CRM or we own our portals and these integrations, but everything we're doing and the things that we're asking you are helping this entire experience. It's not a
Right.
marketing thing, it's a company-wide thing, but we joke here because we try to get our hands and we try to better all of the things we're a part of. So
I
yeah.
love that.
I get it. I mean, I was a VP of marketing at a company, and we were the ones advocating for an online credit app, right? I mean, that doesn't sound like a marketing function, but customers were really upset that we were, they had to fill out a paper credit app in 2015 or whatever, right? And that's part of the customer experience. Um, so speaking of online things, what is the role of your website or your digital presence in, and this will be our last topic, in achieving great customer experience? How do you think about it? I mean, because these aren't conventional businesses, especially yours, Stephanie, where you just, people go online, buy two things and check out, right? So how do you think about incorporating your digital capabilities into your customer experience?
So for us today, we have an e-commerce platform. I keep telling our internal team that we are building the foundations today for our future experience. The big vision, we joke, portals is my favorite word, but we are working to build a portal for our customers. So like Molly said, we want our customers to be able to go to one place and do everything Palmer Donovan. And so what we're working on today is that as we integrate our ERPs and as we have a CRM information, clean data, building out that I am a purchaser at a company, here's what I care about. We're doing our surveys to understand what specific job titles care about, and then pairing that with our Power BI data. So like I said earlier, Ian, as a company, you purchase decking, flooring, cabinets, but Ian, you specifically purchase cabinets. And so anything we want to, we want to push all that information to you. So really giving that single pane for our customers, and providing all the information, anticipating what they would need through our other platforms and pushing that out to them.
Can you talk about the platform you use or want to use, or?
Yeah, so well today I guess we're testing it. We have a live Microsoft Power, what is it, Power Page platform.
Okay.
So we have a vendor. So vendors are our customers too. We have over 100 manufacturer partners that we work with. And so we are starting on a smaller base, and we have our portal for our vendors. And again, we just did a survey with you guys to say, okay, vendors, what do you want in a portal? We're providing
Right.
the Power BI reports, but what next? And so again, we're a big Microsoft company, and so Microsoft Power Pages are what we use today.
Got it. Molly, what do you think about digital as a component of your customer experience?
So we have an e-commerce site. We have for a very long time. I think we finally got very clear on what do we want that e-commerce site to be? What do we want? We've also asked customers over the years. We actually stopped because the problem is if you ask them and they want something and that's not in your plan from an investment standpoint, right? I mean, there's
Yeah.
from an e-commerce site, you're either here or it's huge investments to make. And what are you trying to get out of that? Is that really who we are?
Yeah.
Or, or do we just have this Me Too site? What do we want it to be? So I think it's important to have a place where customers can go to get information, to check on orders, to all of that stuff that they would normally have to call for or email for
Right.
to get that. But to be an e-commerce site in terms of, we want a significant portion of our sales volume to go through that web store. I mean, that's something you really have to decide and commit to. And I don't think that's really part of who we are and how we go to market and how we bring value to customers. At least we haven't heard that from our customers. I think that
The
was
worst way to measure, worst way to, sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry, but you
bad.
tripped something in me. The worst way to measure most distributors' websites value is on shopping cart volume.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's like digging a hole in dry sand, right?
Right.
You're not
Right.
going to get anywhere. So,
Right.
we have that. We just need to really decide what do we want to invest in it to get the value that our customers see as value, not us. Because we could tell ourselves a story all day long, but if it's not what our customers are even interested in,
Right.
that's somewhere where I would say we want to invest from a customer experience standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, you need to have that information and order expediting and order, account management and all that stuff. But we've seen sites that produce less than 1% of a company's sales that customers thought were hugely important because it made their job, again, it made my job easier, right? I don't have to
Right.
call to check my account balance. I don't have to
I can download
call.
my buying history, or I can
Exactly.
my usage, and
Right.
yeah, absolutely.
Right.
We
And
have
we've seen this in research again and again, by the way.
I was gonna say, we have customers that will utilize every function of our e-commerce site except actually placing the order.
Yeah.
Right.
And so what we're doing with technology is we're saying, okay, we understand because they don't want to do the dual entry, right? So we're
Right.
looking at a platform that will take however you want to submit an order, use AI to push that into our systems. And so we're making ourselves quicker internally versus forcing our customers to adapt to how they don't
Right.
want to.
Right. Okay, well, let me wrap up here real quick. Please stay on the call if you're with us because we got a couple of exciting programs coming up. We have a new show called AI News and Gurus, hosted by Brian Hopkins, who works for us, and Brooks Hamilton with Strategy Advisors. Their next guest is Tracy Duell, who's the VP of Information Technology and part of CXO Partners with Bostwick Braun Company. So that's going to be a fascinating discussion. If you want to stay up with the latest on AI for distributors, sign up for this show, which happens a couple of times a month. And we are going to have our favorite economist, Alex Chalsosky, on the show. He's the director of analytics consulting at Bunning Group on navigating the new normal, changing climate of global trade, tariffs in this case. So let's see here. That's brought to you by Epicor. And don't miss those programs. They're going to be fascinating, educational. But what was really fascinating and educational was today's program. Molly, Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us. I learned a lot. I know our audience did too. And I think you've really made the case for how important it is to gather the right data, to care about customer experience, and to improve it in your company over time, relentlessly.
Thank you. Thank you, Ian, for having me.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. And until then, I hope your businesses thrive and you thrive in your personal lives too. Bye now.